Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com, a quick review of Black Beauty. But before we get into any of that, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. Disney Plus's latest new movie is Black Beauty, and it's going to be coming to the streaming service this coming Friday on the 27th of November. This one is a kind of a modern retelling of the original novel, and basically it's all about Black Beauty, as you'd expect, and how she forms a bond with a human called Jo, who is played by Mackenzie Ford, who you might know from the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. Now, it's interesting, I think, with this one, it's kind of modern, but it's not too much. I mean, the only thing you really probably would notice is in one scene they have a mobile phone. That's kind of very much it. And it kind of goes through time, and Black Beauty has a number of different owners throughout her life. Originally she was kind of whipped out of the wild and therefore is a wild Mustang and needs to be kind of essentially broken. So Jo ends up managing to befriend the horse and goes on. They have a relationship where they end up kind of really kind of forming a lifelong bond, and that kind of is a story that runs through the whole of the movie. The core bit of the movie at the beginning obviously is them building on this relationship and it kind of strengthening it over time. There's obviously some cases where the horse ends up moving on to different owners, no fault due to Jo, just due to the situation. And from there, we really kind of see, in some ways, kind of the nasty side of humans. It's kind of not great at some points. So, you know, it's a little bit tear-jerking, especially when you see some of the humans. And then also, they don't really get their comeuppance. That's the big issue as well with them. That's the thing really from watching it is these guys that are really sort of nasty to the horse, they don't tend to if anything happens, and that's obviously a shame. And you can tell this movie was not made by Disney. It's not kind of as fluffy, and I'll be honest, it's a little bit like Clouds in some way, where they get a little bit more gritty, and I think that's a good thing going forward, and I think Disney should definitely look to outsource to bring in more movies like this. They're family friendly, but they kind of got a little bit more of an edge to it. It's a little bit more, less fairy tale. I mean, obviously they have the big, nice ending at the end. I mean, there's no point really trying to ruin and spoil a movie that has based around a book that's like 100 plus years old. But they did kind of cut down how many different steps and owners that Black Beauty had. And it's just really sad at the end in some ways. And that's kind of the thing really to go forward with it. I really did find that kind of quite emotional at some points. As well as that, it's not a groundbreaking movie of any kind. It's just a good, solid movie. Especially this weekend with it being sort of Thanksgiving and the holidays. It's kind of a nice movie to sit down. If you happen to have young children that maybe are not so sure about kind of animals being hurt and maybe dying, you might just want to be aware of that with this one. Though nothing is really shown too much, but they don't kind of hide away from this, and that's kind of, I think, important with these kind of movies. Again, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting it to be maybe as enjoyable as it was. I kind of was going, okay, Black Beauty, I've seen this before. It's been done, you know, a dozen times before. We've seen this. But I kind of got to the end of it and thought, oh, that was cool, that was enjoyable. And that's kind of the nice thing about this. It's definitely a movie that benefits from going straight to streaming. It just wouldn't have done much at the box office. But a movie where you can sit back at home, you know, blanket on, out in the middle of the winter and watch this kind of thing is great. The acting is all pretty cool. Mackenzie's rather cool in it. That's kind of odd. They sort of age her by like 7-8 years at one point, and it's like she doesn't look any different. But yeah, I really also connected with her uncle as well, where he's kind of trying to not necessarily treat her the same way he would treat a horse, in trying to kind of let her come to him rather than the other way around. And I just kind of really enjoyed that aspect of their relationship, because he essentially, you know, he was doing nothing wrong. He was trying his best to kind of look after her, and I kind of really thought that was a very interesting side story. There's a little bit of a love interest, not that comes to much, and yeah, it's just really kind of interesting. The one fact that I did was a bit odd with it was we had Kate Winslet kind of providing like the narration throughout the movie, and she kind of provided the voice of Black Beauty. So there's no like connection where she was talking to anyone or anything, but she's talking to you like a journal. And there's, I don't know, it's a bit of an odd one. You kind of get used to it after a while. But that was my only kind of weird thing of going, why is the horse talking to us like she's reading a journal? But it kind of made sense. It kind of kept the storyline going and progressing using her words and stuff. And overall, just a really solid family-friendly movie. So I'll give this one 4 out of 5, but let me know if you're going to be watching this one on Disney Plus this coming weekend. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Also, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.